Vincenzo'S Go Crypto Investing. We're going to get right on into this Bitcoin price. And you can see last night when we were talking about, we got above that green. What is going on? We got above that green support zone right there. And then we even back tested it right here. You see this? We came up, back tested it, and then shot up. And notice we breached the old high right there, right? We got higher than that. So that's bullish. Now you're coming back down for another full confirmation, and what you would look for is option one. You get supported on the 50-day moving average, or you get and double tap now again this underneath support. But then if you did come all the way down, what you'd want to do to remain bullish is to breach this old high now, or if you did something like this and then trade it down, that would be bearish, and that would be telling you that the price was starting to run out of steam. So we're going to pay attention for that in the Bitcoin price today and this weekend, as you could get a big move up or a big move down on the weekend, as it's a much more thinly traded market as the futures are closed, right? And all the major exchanges around the world are closed, where there's a lot of ETFs and like GBTC and other things that people trade along with Bitcoin, right? That have Bitcoin in them, like the funds. So we're going to see that. But then some other breaking news, breaking world health news. And this goes with old Vincenzo was saying when I was on my vacation, when the World Health Organization said monkeypox was a global emergency. I put an emergency update out telling you that across the United States, you would start having executive action and similar to pandemic orders that would start coming out with lockdowns, restrictions, and this and that, just like they did with COVID. And then there would be the United States would declare an emergency from the president, and the Federal Reserve would use that as saying that we have another crisis with a medical crisis and a pandemic, and they would start to turn on the monetary spigots again, right? And in our first case now, we got San Francisco reported its first case June 3rd. Funny. And the city now has the most cases in states in the United States. As of Thursday, San Francisco had, that's my third slide I wanted to see. So my first slide, where is it at? Why does this get out of order? It got out of order. We'll go there real quick, but it's right here. I don't know why it gets out of order, but you can see San Francisco declares an emergency to help the city deal with monkeypox. This is the same kind of emergencies that they did with COVID, right? It's not going to be as expansive right now, but as the weeks go on, you're going to see tighter and tighter restrictions, right? And cities like this in New York just did something similar. The mayor of San Francisco announced a legal state of emergency Thursday over the growing number of monkeypox. And old Vincenzo told you during COVID that how easy it was to get the world to lock down for medical stuff. You would have more pandemics, and it would be an escalating and an endless list of viruses that come out, and pandemic orders and emergencies for the various viruses that they put out now, because it was so easy to control the population and to lock them down. They're going to use this over and over and over. And I was telling you back then, as COVID wanes, you're going to have the next one come in. And you can see 12 months ago, they started priming the pump with the monkeypox. And you're going to be getting this now over and over and over. Each end of a virus crises is going to roll right seamlessly and smoothly into the next virus or crisis that pops up. that the media tells you is a big problem, and local governments and countries tell you that you must get vaccinated. You must do this. You must do that. You can't do this. You can't do that. Right? And they're going to continue to do this. San Francisco legal state of emergency, growing number of monkeypox cases, officials to cut through red tape and fight public health crises. That of the AIDS epidemic that began to devastate the city in the 80s. Now they're gonna compare this to AIDS. The declaration, which took effect Monday, was welcomed by gay advocates who have grown increasingly frustrated by what they call a lackluster response to the virus affecting. Now they're starting to the media to try to get these groups to start calling for things like the LGBTQ, X, Y, W, and Z community to call and demand restrictions, right? Which is a joke. Remember, the gay community are the ones in the 80s that demanded the health people to give emergency orders to HIV treatment. And the health department said that the safety studies weren't done and they didn't want to do it, but the gay community said that they were anti-gay and whatnot, and forced the health people to give them emergency orders to use it as HIV treatment. And then it later turned out that HIV treatment was much more deadly than the actual disease, as the people that would get this treatment would die rapidly, right? When a lot of them didn't even know they were sick. They were scared, took a test that said they were HIV positive. So they took this medicine that was a DNA terminator, right? And gave them a high dose of it, and it did terminate the DNA, but it terminated the people. And in some cases, as short as a couple of weeks, they went from perfectly healthy, besides saying they had a virus, to dead, right? As soon as they started taking the pills. And this is going to get worse and worse. With this, they're going to have more and more restrictions. And I believe this is going to be your next full-fledged United States pandemic, where they're going to go into similar lockdowns that they did during COVID, as they continue to prime this pump, right? And you can see 4,300 cases of monkeypox vaccine doses, enabling Zuckerberg San Francisco General Hospital to reopen a vaccine clinic, right? It's just one after another. And here's the new: monkeypox spreads through prolonged skin-to-skin contact, which includes kissing, breathing at close ranges, and sharing bedding and clothing. The public health department said health officials are asking, which next will be mandating people who could be at risk to cover exposed skin when out in crowds, and to watch out for symptoms such as fever, blisters, and rashes. That's just going to turn into more and more. You're not allowed to wear. You'll see this as crazy as it sounds now. You'll start getting where they say it's illegal to have short sleeve shirts on in public. It's illegal to show any skin in public, right? It's going to get worse and worse. It's going to get more outrageous by the day. And these pandemics and these viruses that they have as local and state and national emergencies and global emergencies are going to continue to get worse. They're never going to end. They're going to be in a perpetual pendulum that keeps on swinging and turning as the need be, and as the governments need to restrict population and freedoms. They're going to continue to do it. And this is just another example. And this is just the start in the United States of draconian laws coming down and massive restrictions and mandates by government in the United States and around the world. You're going to see this as the weeks go on and the cases rise, and they start priming the mainstream media pump with fear tactics and fear porn, that they're going to have more and more cities do this, and they're going to start closing restaurants and bars, etc., right? And then they're going to start to bring the COVID back, as I believe now, as I've lost track, we're on the COVID variant number 12, 13, or 14, right? And now you're on vaccine number 4, booster number 4 and 5, because as you know, we need to have the Pfizers of the world make all this fucking money, right? It's a fucking joke. And now you can see the Ethereum price what we got going on here with, come on, with Ethereum is we're coming back to a critical area now. What is going on? Jesus. With Ethereum right here with our drawing tool, you can see it's coming back down right here. And this is what we were talking about yesterday on a back test. It's at the 50-day now. You need to hold this, and then you can bounce off it and breach the old high here to remain bullish. But if you slip below it, come to the 200-day, come back up, and then get rejected by it and start to trade down like that, that would be very bearish, right? If you came on down, came up, got rejected, that's very bearish. Something that looks like that, that would be telling you the price was going to come down. But if you did something like this, held it and then kicked up, that'd be very bullish. So that's what we're watching out for in the Ethereum price as the day goes on and the weekend commences. Do we hold the 200-day, or do we hold the initial support where we're at now and bounce? Or if we come down, which looks like we are, and come into these moving averages, do we quickly get back on top of this, hold it as support, and then start to trade up for bullishness? Or when we slip under it, does it act as major overhead resistance on the way back underneath it, and then it starts forcing the price down, and it takes you down to some of these lower levels down here below the 200-day, which would be down there at $1,202, right? So that's what we're looking at in Bitcoin. That 1678 is major support, and you would like to see this hold to remain bullish. Cardano's starting to trade back down, and it looks like Cardano's going to come back down to the 200-day, and that could be the next buying opportunity there. If it can hold it, it can remain bullish. If it slips it, just like Ethereum, and start to trade like this, that would be bearish. If it did something like that, that'd be acting as a bearish confirmation on getting back and failing underneath support and then turning it into overhead resistance. The same thing with the Doge. Our daily update on the Dogecoin Millionaire. You can see the Dogecoin price is back on this underneath support, and the Doge is the same thing. If you slip this and then you fall down to the 200-day, right? And these are all similar. They're all back testing support, right? If you slip this and fall to the 200-day and then come like that and can't really sustain yourself above it and start trading down, that would be bearish, right? If you're looking to be bullish, what you're looking to do is trade on this white support line, even come a little bit below, but pretty much stay on top of it, and then kick back up eventually and start to trade on up. That would be bullish, but we got to continue to watch out to see what happens as we round out this morning update with a little bit of XRP action. And you can see XRP is never did get above this area. It's been holding it as major resistance, and again for the third time now, XRP is getting rejected, just like it did right there and right there. It's getting rejected again, and if you continue this rejection, you're going to trade on down towards the 200-day moving average, and that's where you'd have to find the buyers, or you would trade back down into this regional supply zone and this white support zone between 30 and 32 cents. Like, subscribe, and share to Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. Peace and love. Peace and love.